There's a moment every man has experienced, the moment when a woman looks at you just a little longer than usual, like she's trying to decode something about you. And you can feel it, that tiny shift in the air, the unspoken curiosity. But most men ruin that moment because they rush, they overdo, or they try too hard to impress. What they don't realize is that younger women don't get addicted to effort, they get addicted to the energy you carry. There is one flirting move, simple, subtle, almost invisible, that triggers something powerful in their mind. It's not about lines, pick-up tricks, or acting like someone you're not. It's about stepping into a version of yourself that makes her feel drawn in without understanding why. Because the truth is, attraction isn't built in what you say, it's built in what you make her feel. And younger women are especially sensitive to this specific shift in masculine presence. When you understand it, you don't chase attention, attention starts chasing you. The secret flirting move can be called the slight tease with intentional pause. It's the move where you say or do something playful, slightly teasing, and then pause, letting curiosity build and making her instinctively want more. This creates subtle emotional pull and keeps her thinking about you. There's a subtle art in attraction that most men completely overlook, and it lies in the way you communicate without speaking too much. The slight tease with intentional pause is not about clever lines or over-the-top jokes. It's about creating a moment that feels almost electric without trying to force it. Imagine this. You make a small, playful comment, something that gently challenges her or makes her smile, and then you stop. You don't rush to fill the silence. You don't explain yourself. You simply let the moment breathe. That pause is where the magic happens because it taps into something deeply human, curiosity and anticipation. When a woman experiences that tiny gap after a playful nudge, her mind starts filling it in, her imagination begins to run, and suddenly you've captured her attention without her even realizing it. It's the difference between saying something funny and getting a laugh, and saying something teasing and having her think about it hours later, maybe even replay it in her mind when she's alone. What makes this move especially powerful with younger women is that they are wired to respond to confidence paired with mystery. They can sense neediness from a mile away, and it turns them off instantly. But when you deliver a tease and then pause, you're showing a kind of calm assurance that signals you are comfortable in your own presence. You're not chasing her reaction, you're simply allowing yourself to exist in that playful space, and that creates a magnetic pull. It's almost like a dance where you lead subtly, guiding her emotions without controlling them. And that difference between leading with energy and chasing with words is what makes this approach addictive. The pause is the secret ingredient because it gives her room to process the interaction in a way that she's not used to. Most conversations are filled with constant chatter, explanations, or oversharing, and that creates predictability, which kills curiosity. By teasing and then stepping back just slightly, you interrupt the normal flow of communication. And that interruption sparks attention. Her brain starts to engage, trying to decode your intention, to understand what you mean, to feel your energy, and in doing so, she becomes more invested emotionally than she would have from straightforward compliments or casual talk. It's a move that works silently yet profoundly, making her associate your presence with intrigue and excitement rather than obligation or pressure. Timing and subtlety are everything. The tease should be light enough to make her smile, but strong enough to catch her off guard. The pause should feel natural, as if you are simply enjoying the moment rather than strategically executing a technique. This creates an unspoken tension that keeps her engaged, curious, and drawn in. Over time, when done consistently, it forms a pattern in her mind where your interactions feel stimulating, different, and memorable. She starts looking forward to your presence, your words, your energy, and without realizing it, she begins to crave that playful dynamic that only you provide, because it makes her feel alive, noticed, and intrigued all at once. There's a type of communication that doesn't rely on words, on clever lines, or on trying to impress. It's subtle, almost imperceptible, yet it has a magnetic effect that makes a woman lean closer, emotionally and mentally, instead of pulling away. This move is rooted in presence and timing, in the way you respond, the way you listen, and the energy you radiate in each moment. It's about creating a space where she feels acknowledged, challenged, and intrigued at the same time. Most men flood conversations with words, explanations, or constant reactions, which overwhelms her and signals neediness. But when you communicate subtly through pauses, playful remarks, eye contact, or slight physical gestures, you allow her to fill in the gaps herself, and that engagement is far more powerful than anything you could directly say. When a man leans into this subtle style, he creates a dynamic where curiosity naturally builds. She starts noticing patterns in his behavior, the way he reacts differently from everyone else, the way he doesn't overreact but responds just enough to spark attention. That balance of responsiveness and restraint creates tension, and tension is the core of attraction. Younger women are especially sensitive to these cues because they are exploring social and emotional dynamics, learning what feels exciting versus what feels ordinary. By giving her just enough, you create an emotional pull that feels effortless yet intoxicating. The subtle move works because it leverages anticipation and mystery, two psychological triggers that humans respond to instinctively. She begins to lean in emotionally, mentally, and sometimes even physically, because your energy promises stimulation and connection without overwhelming her. Every glance, every slight smile, every measured response sends signals that you are confident, present, and in control of your own emotions, and she instinctively wants to be part of that. It's a dance of energy rather than words, a silent push and pull that keeps her engaged and coming back for more. And once mastered, it turns ordinary interactions into moments she remembers, moments that keep her thinking about you long after the conversation ends. There is something almost instinctual about how mystery and presence create an emotional pull that women can't resist. It's not about playing games or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about embodying an energy that is fully grounded in yourself while leaving enough unsaid to spark curiosity. When a man carries presence, when he moves through a room, a conversation, or even a casual interaction with calm assurance, he signals that he is comfortable in his own skin. That comfort is magnetic because it conveys strength, stability, and control, all of which are traits that younger women subconsciously look for in a partner. Mystery, on the other hand, is the invisible layer that keeps her guessing, that makes her want to know more about who you are, what you think, and how you feel. Together, presence and mystery create a unique tension that keeps her emotionally and mentally engaged. Most men fail to create this pull because they over-explain themselves, overshare, or try too hard to be liked. When a man is fully present but doesn't reveal everything at once, he triggers a psychological response in women. Curiosity builds naturally, and their brain begins to invest energy in figuring him out. Younger women, in particular, are wired to notice subtle patterns, inconsistencies, and nuances in behavior. When she encounters a man who is steady, confident, and slightly unpredictable, it activates her imagination and emotional interest, making her feel drawn to him without understanding exactly why. She starts paying closer attention to every word, every glance, every pause, creating a sense of attachment before any formal connection is even established. Mystery amplifies presence because it prevents familiarity from killing intrigue. When you leave small gaps in conversation or behavior, it compels her to engage more deeply, to think about you after the interaction ends, and to emotionally invest without pressure. This combination of calm confidence and playful ambiguity triggers a subtle emotional addiction that feels natural, effortless, and profoundly magnetic. She doesn't just like being around you, she starts looking forward to your energy, anticipating your interactions, and feeling emotionally connected to the version of yourself that she only gets to see gradually, making every moment together more meaningful and memorable. There's a fine line between playful flirtation and needy attention, and understanding this difference is what separates men who naturally attract younger women from those who push them away. Playful flirtation is light, confident, and intentional. It's a dance of energy that teases curiosity, provokes a smile, and sparks a connection without demanding anything in return. It communicates that you are comfortable with yourself, that your value isn't dependent on her reaction, and that you enjoy her company for what it is rather than what it can give you. Needy attention, on the other hand, is the exact opposite. It's clingy, over-eager, and driven by insecurity. It signals that your self-worth depends on her validation, and that insecurity immediately kills attraction because it undermines the sense of mystery, confidence, and emotional stability that naturally draws women in. Younger women are particularly sensitive to these signals because they are exploring emotional dynamics, testing boundaries, and responding instinctively to subtle cues of strength and independence. When a man flirts playfully, he creates a sense of excitement and unpredictability. She starts to associate him with positive feelings, laughter, and intrigue, and her brain releases subtle chemical responses that make her want to seek more of that experience. The connection grows naturally because it's built on energy, not pressure. With needy attention, however, every interaction feels heavy, forced, and draining. Instead of craving your presence, she begins to feel suffocated or disinterested because her mind registers stress rather than stimulation. The key is to maintain balance. Flirt in a way that is confident, teasing, and slightly unpredictable, while giving her space to respond and engage. This allows attraction to build organically, creates a sense of emotional pull, and keeps her thinking about you long after the interaction ends. When done consistently, playful flirtation becomes addictive because it taps into curiosity, anticipation, and emotional stimulation, whereas needy attention is a repellent, eroding attraction before it can take root. The difference is subtle, but it is profound, shaping whether your presence becomes a source of excitement she craves or a burden she avoids.